Hello, hello, hello out there to all you Millionaire by Morning listeners, future millionaires, people that want to wake up feeling like a millionaire. It's not always about the money. Sometimes it's about the mindset. Today we have someone here with us that is very, very experienced in speaking on that. We're going to bring on today Lenora Edwards. She's a published TEDx speaker and author. She is an expert by experience in overcoming eating challenges and an advocate for mindful eating and body positivity. She's renowned for her innovative approach to emotional wellness and eating habits, blending her expertise in hypnosis, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, or NLP, and Holographic Memory Resolution. Lenora has crafted a unique methodology that empowers individuals to overcome emotional eating by harnessing the power of effective internal communication. With over a decade of experience, she has guided countless individuals to transform their relationship with food, fostering a life of confidence, balance, and self-compassion. We want to talk to Lenora today. She's going to talk to us about mindset and how to get from your internal barriers to your external confidence. Lenora, welcome to the Millionaire by Morning podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Rashad. I am so excited to be here with you. Millionaire by Morning is so important. And I had no idea when I was younger just how important it was. So I'm incredibly enthusiastic about talking about how to have a happy, healthy mindset right from the get-go.
Happy, healthy mindset. First and foremost, thank you for being on. As soon as I seen your media kit and that you was booked for this show, I was like, man, that's so cool. That's excellent. Because that's what we talk about. That's where it all starts, is mindset. And normally it starts with internal conflict.
Completely.
So we have to find a way to, like you say, have a healthy mindset. And we're not always taught that.
We're not.
So
I completely agree.
This is going to be awesome because I want to get into some of that. But first, let's start from the beginning. Lenora, let's get to know a little bit about you, your background, and what made you go on the path that you are currently
on. Oh boy. Oh, I always think from the Golden Girls when she's like, picture it, Sicily, 18 such and such, right from the beginning. But no, I won't rewind that far. When I really noticed my mindset had been impacting my life, I was something that I was aware of, and I didn't realize just how bad it had gotten, because most people would tell me outwardly, hey, you're a really positive person. You're really you're very outgoing. You always seem so bright. And you know, I was always called the one with the rose-colored glasses. What I didn't realize was, or what people didn't realize, is that my internal environment was complete chaos. And I knew something was wrong because I was having very, very, very difficult time with food. Very specifically for me, I had an eating disorder, and it had gotten progressively worse over the course of my life, to the point that it was so bad that I was sitting in the dentist's office. And I share this I shared this on my TEDx talk, which is called How to Stop the Negative Voices in Your Head. But it had gotten so bad that in the dentist's office, I was getting another false tooth as a result of my eating disorder. And it came to the point that it was, maybe there's something you don't know yet, Lenora, but also, how many more teeth do you want to lose before this is going to really cause an even bigger problem in your life? And there were so many things that were going on. And it wasn't that I wasn't trying to help myself at the time. It quite literally was. I was trying so many different things, but I would take 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, and then maybe 1 step, and it just wouldn't break the cycle. And that's when I realized, as much as the incredible world of motivation and the incredible world of self-help books were out there, nothing could counteract what I was doing until I actually had a conversation with somebody else. And it completely changed my life. And that's what I absolutely love about things like your podcast, because people are having the conversation of a very raw, real conversation. It's not a celebrity. It's not these people that are outside your league. These are actual people that are living their lives, that are coming to you saying, I had a problem. I had a really bad problem. This is what I did. And hopefully that gives somebody else the inspiration that says, wow, I'm not alone. There are other people out here. They figured it out. Let me keep going. Let me find my way, figure it out.
Yes, I 100% agree. Even with this podcast, it's really, I know it seems I have money at the back in the background. It's Millionaire by Morning. That's the first thing you think about.
Yeah.
But I kind of, as far as the mindset is concerned, I want people to I want this show to be a place that you can listen and be like, okay, there's particular steps, because he's talking to professionals that helps with mindset, helps people to get unstuck. And once you get unstuck, then you can worry about making the money. But let's start here first. So I totally agree with you there. As far as the food, as you're explaining it, it almost sounds like, well, I guess it is, in a sense, an addiction, like someone who has an addiction. So you can have addiction to anything from sugar to, drugs, hard drugs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So when you say internal barriers, would you say that in your story, did it come from previous trauma or previous ordeal that you dealt with and kind of connected the two?
There were so many things, at least very specifically for me. And I am now an eating disorder coach and an emotional eating teacher and specialist. And, these certifications that I have to share with other people from my very personal experience and from the professional information that I have now studied for a number of years, there's so many things that go into it. It's not just necessarily one event or this one bad relationship. For me, there were tons of things that were connected to this, and I would have feelings that would come up quite literally. You'd have a thought in your head. So this is how quickly it moves through the system. You have a thought, you have a feeling. That feeling will make you carry out an action, and then a cycle continues in your body. So I'm not good enough. Boom, you just start the cycle and it goes down, and it can go down really quick. Or I can't do that. You're right. I can't do any of that. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not, and you go down this spiral. As you're going down this spiral, you're feeling, your thoughts are going at a quick pace. Now your body's having an emotional response. You're now feeling worse and worse and worse. What we go to do, especially when we're in that situation, we're now looking for an external way to feel better because we don't want to feel that bad. So whether you're reaching for alcohol, whether you're reaching for food or sex or drugs, whatever it is, it's a protective response that's going on, that's going, I don't want to feel this bad. Let me do the thing that I remember to do so that I don't have to feel this bad, because I can dive into this bag of potato chips and eat 14 Oreos while I'm at it. And I know that even though this is going to make me feel terrible, it'll feel better than this. And that's what we do. We're wired to seek pleasure, as in we're wired to move away from pain and to go into something that feels just a little bit better, even though it could be cutting. It could be any type of addiction, whatever you want to call it, any type of way that you're seeking to feel better. You're seeking because you're moving away from pain and you want to get into that better state than where that awful state is. So it's this really confusing state, because now you're in a terrible state. You've now moved up the state. You've gone from really, really awful to like just awful. Now you're trying to move back up this emotional state, and it's a cycle that you keep falling through, and it can be so hard to break free from that. And the reason it's so hard is because our thoughts, and going back to what you said, it starts with the mind. Millionaires, the millionaire mindset, it is a rich mind. Your mind can be rich with abundance and with good things and with positive thoughts. It can also be filled with terrible thoughts. And it's the important part of knowing these thoughts are healthy for me, these are unhealthy. How can I navigate through them? And it's so important because it all starts with the mind. Understanding the mind, there's the mind as in the brain and the body, they're connected. Our culture would have us thinking that our mind is over here and our body's over here and our health is over there and da 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 da. We're all connected. And it's so important to recognize when you're thinking you're not good enough, when you're thinking you can't do something or that you're not worthy of it or you're a piece of whatever. It's important to notice it and to take hold of it and to look at it and to start to examine it and say, okay, what else is going on? Why am I thinking this? Where did I get this thought? And I teach my clients a very specific protocol on how to navigate negative thoughts, and I'll share it in a moment. But it's important to be able to catch those thoughts and get them under the microscope because we have thoughts. And I love this. One of my friends taught me this. You do not have to believe every single thought you think. So you don't have to believe that you're not worthy enough. You don't have to believe that you're not enough. You don't have to believe that you might not be a millionaire. You can choose your thoughts. How we strategically do that is what cultivates that millionaire mindset that we're wanting to achieve and that we're wanting to not only achieve, make better, make sharper, make brighter, make bigger, share it with the world.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I have a program that I'm beginning, and it has the 8 pillars. It has 8 pillars that for me brought me out of my rut, made me what I consider to be successful. So I'm teaching it to other people.
I love that.
The last step in that, the last step of it is momentum.
Nice.
I think what you just described was people stopping their momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're starting back down that spiral. Well, then you got to climb back up that ladder again.
Mm-hmm.
Then you just fall back down. So it's a constant repeating cycle of you stopping that good momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I love that, especially when you're talking about momentum. There is momentum either way. Which way is it rolling? We want that good momentum. And it's the habits that we do every day, every morning. It's a habit that builds that momentum completely.
Yep, you're right.
I love
Sometime on this show, I step outside of myself and kind of just listen to the conversation that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense in so much. You can kind of, like me, I go back to my childhood, just in an instant. And I'll be like, okay, this is what was going on. Like, for instance, I see why people go to church on Sunday morning. Some people do on Sunday, some do on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then they go to church again, maybe on Wednesday. But the reason is kind of, if you're just out here and you don't have any direction, you start your church Sunday, the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
And then that starts that momentum up into, you probably mess up by Saturday, but then go back to church Sunday and start that good momentum back up. And that's just an example of my life and people I know in my life and how they got by. But that's totally a mindset thing. And it's totally a what is it called? Come back to the drawing board. Come back to the center.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, especially because church can be such a beautiful practice, whether you want to call it a practice, a ritual, a routine, a habit. It is so important. And what it does, it solidifies that you're making a commitment to something. And we have them throughout the day. It's that we don't consider them necessarily as important as going to church. But think about it. You get up every day and you probably brush your teeth. Get up every day and you go to the bathroom and you put on a clean pair of clothes. Though it's a part of the daily practice of taking care of yourself. Part of daily practices and daily habits and creating this millionaire mindset is recognizing your thoughts, taking care of your thoughts, noticing what's coming up, honoring it, being respectful to it, journaling about it, talking with somebody about it, processing it, however it is, and building that momentum that says, I am resilient. I am building this strong mindset because I love myself so much and I want to care about myself so much. And I value this gift of life. And I want to pass this forward to somebody. I want to share this with somebody. That's the best ways to continue to recognize that this is a gift, that being here is a gift, and that going through these practices is a beautiful way to not only fill ourselves, to take care of ourselves, but to also continue to pass this gift along.
Definitely. I do. There's a lot going on in the world right now.
Oh yeah.
But I do like the space that we are in as far as people taking their mental health into account.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just now starting to see that in my life. Normally, it wasn't something that people talked about and came out with. It was a silent thing, and it was it wasn't for it to be out in the open. But now it is.
Yeah. I think your podcast is a beautiful way to share that also with the world. And I completely agree with you. And I know when we first popped on the call for quick math, I'm 39. So I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. It was not common practice to acknowledge a positive mindset. It was not common practice to take care of your emotions and to nurture them, but in a what I consider a very respectful way, not going on Instagram and wailing about the fact that a Starbucks order came out wrong. I personally think it goes in a different way, and really recognizing, saying, hey, I have a serious problem here. I have an eating disorder. I'm not going to go on a live and just blah, blah, blah about it. I'm going to find ways to take care of myself, to honor this, to say, there's something else going on here and I need other support, and I need specific support in being able to recognize that there's a problem. And even if you're asking for help and saying, hey, you know what, my career isn't where I want it to be, or I am doing a terrible job at being an entrepreneur and I don't know what to do. Asking other professionals, and professionals being people who are successfully doing things that you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
are people that you can go to. And there has not been a single person, whenever I've asked for help, and I've asked for help many times in my careers, there has not been a single other person that has clearly been doing well at something. And I said, I have a question. Can you help me with this? Not a single one of them have ever said no to me. And we can often think like, oh, they don't want to waste their time with me, or, oh, I'm not good enough, or, why want it to me? What can I bring them? People are constantly wanting to help. As long as you're willing to say, hey, I have a question. Can you help me with this? People are more than happy to meet you where you are and to be able to support you and honor that whatever mental health, whatever brain pattern you're in that day, to be able to open that space for you and say, let me offer you some support. Here I am. What can I do for you?
Right. I agree with that. It's more people that are willing to help you, because basically they're telling you their story or their journey, and who don't like to talk about themselves,
Very much so. And you're helping fill their cup, and they're helping fill your cup. It is a true thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I do really love about this podcast. It's like, man, worldwide. I can get on here and talk to anyone. I can talk to them about anything.
Yeah.
And like you said, what you just used is they fill my cup, vice versa.
Yeah.
So actionable steps here. I am, marketer, salesperson, or, whatever the case may be, entrepreneur. I'm just going to give a sample. So if I have in my head, I wake up and I'm like, okay, they don't want to deal with me. What I'm trying to offer is too much money. My sales system sucks. What do how do I turn it off? The negativity, the negative self-talk. How can I turn it off?
So I have an amazing protocol for that. And I'm going to share it as a PDF, but I'm also going to show it to you here. So this is going to be for your listeners. Okay. So this is what I lovingly refer to as the shift protocol. And I teach this in my very specific course of helping others with emotional eating and eating disorders. This is the shift protocol. And what this is going to do is it's going to stop those negative thoughts in their tracks. I'm going to hold it up for you. So when you notice a negative thought, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to S. You're going to spot it.
Spot it.
Okay. So you want to become aware of that negative thought. So that's S. That's first. The next thing you want to do is hear it. That's H. Literally hear what it's telling you. Notice if it's in your voice. And here's the other one. Notice if it's somebody else's voice. There are plenty of times where we can pick up other people's voices and we adopt them as our own. Something like, I'm not good enough. Well, wait a second. Let me spot that. Okay, I notice it. Let me hear it. Is that my voice or is it somebody else's voice that's told me in the past that I might not be good enough? You're going to investigate it. Notice, is this thought helping you? Is it being beneficial to you? Or is it not so much? Likely, not so much. Next, you're going to F. You're going to frame it. What you're going to do when you frame this, you're going to choose, you're going to go through your catalog of thoughts and you're going to recognize, has there ever been any piece of evidence where this was not true? And notice what comes up. T, then you're going to trade it in. You're going to trade it in for a more helpful thought. I am good enough because I'm putting in the effort to care about what I'm doing. Or I am worthy because I'm out here doing my best and I'm asking questions. However you want to trade it in. But that's how you take those thoughts and you shift them. And it's very specifically on your hand. S, you want to spot it. H, you want to hear it. Whose voice is it? I, you want to investigate it. Is it helpful? Is it not so helpful? F, you want to frame it as in, what's a better serving idea? Has this ever been not true for me or has this always been true for me? Likely it's not always been true. And then T, you want to trade it in. That is the fastest way to notice those negative thoughts, to bring them right into the palm of your hand, look at them with the magnifying glass, and shift them into a better, more helpful thought. That is the shift protocol.
Wow. Talk about actionable steps. There you go. To any of the listeners out there, I know that I could use it. And that's a part of your course.
That's a part of my course, and I'll absolutely send that to you. So it'll be in the show notes. People can download the free PDF.
Please do. Please do.
Absolutely.
That's very helpful.
Thank you. I'm very happy to hear that it's helpful.
Yeah, it is. It's I'm gonna put it to use for sure. So I have a guest that I interviewed on this podcast. And just yesterday, I was listening to someone else's podcast, Alex Hermosi.
Oh.
And have you heard of him?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay.
I think he just wrote another book.
Oh, okay. All right. So what he said, when you just mentioned that it could be someone else's voice, this is what my guest said, and this is what Alex Hermosi was saying yesterday as I was listening to him. Same concept. A lot of the sayings that we heard just growing up, just little stuff that you would hear people say, you know, especially when you got your first job, or, you know, sometime coming from your parents, or, you know, especially in business, when you first start business. And I think his example was, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. And it's so many of those, you know, small sayings like that.
Oh, yeah.
That really twist your mind because you kind of believe it when it's not true at all. You know, and maybe in some circumstances it could be, but in other circumstances, if, you know, you want to make a massive amount of money, then that's not true at all. Yeah. You know, so
for sure.
Yeah.
So there is one of the techniques that I'm trained in is called Holographic Memory Resolution. And called HMR for short. And I co-authored a book with the creator of this amazing, amazing technique that we use. And it really is this beautiful emotional reframing technique. And in this technique, my teacher shares, we go in and out of memory 15 to 50 times an hour. Now, what that means is we are constantly filtering information. And for as mindful as we are doing our best to be, our subconscious will capture information and it will constantly bring up flashes of memory. So, for example, if you hear somebody say, "Now, let me ask you something," somebody might have taken that phrase when you were younger and had used it many, many times. And all of a sudden, your parent pops into your head. Or, "Do you have a problem with me?" The tone of that could bring another person that pops into your head. Or, "Out of curiosity," can suddenly bring in your best friend's voice. And what's happening is as people are talking, as they're moving in and out of their language and they're sharing things with you, your subconscious is flashing bits and pieces of memory, which is why suddenly when you're in a conversation with somebody and you're thinking, "Why am I thinking about grandma's chocolate chip cookies?" And you might be smelling grandma's chocolate chip cookies. It's literally your brain is capturing this information and it's running it in the background. This is why our mind tends to deviate. And all of a sudden you're in the middle of a conversation and you're thinking, "Why am I thinking about this very random piece? I'm over here on a podcast. Why is this coming up?" Your mind goes in and out of memory. And that's exactly what you were just saying, as in, well, if you want something done, you can do it yourself. Noticing, is that thought still so helpful? Well, grandma might have said it when she was growing up, but she might have also been talking about how to baste a turkey, and nobody else knew how to baste a turkey better than she did. So that makes sense as to why she came up with that. But if we're talking about how to cut film on CapCut and being able to do it efficiently, I'm not the most tech savvy person.
Right.
Hiring out might be the best use of my time. And if you want something done, I'm acknowledging hiring out is probably the best use of my time. So again, those thoughts that are coming up, and as you beautifully pointed out, it can just be something that we heard. It's an echo or a piece of information from our past. Is it still serving us? Or do we need to look at it? Do we need to spot it? Do we need to hear it, investigate it, frame it, and turn it into something else or trade it into something else? And allowing ourselves to have the ability to move in and out of those ideas to see if they're still helpful to us, are they still serving us, is truly allowing ourselves to continue to cultivate that millionaire mind. That millionaire mind is flexible, it's growth oriented. It wants to not only grow and flourish, it also wants to share with other people. And that is abundance. That is absolutely millionaire worthy, and millions and millions and millions of fantastical things going on in that moment.
You just said something. I had to write it down because I'm going to do a whole show about it. And that was, are they still serving us? Because sometimes you have to make a switch.
Sure.
In your mind and in your life, like even within community, even within, the people that you keep company, and you may have been in a certain situation where those thoughts were serving you.
Yeah.
But then you move on to another situation where I guess marriage would be a good example of that.
Absolutely.
You can't continue to hang around your single friends, or your marriage might not go so well. You have to pick up a whole different set of ideas and thinking.
Completely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a great thing to be aware of, because ultimately we are wanting to do what is in our best interest to allow ourselves to continue to thrive. Having my best interest is also supporting my family and supporting my significant other and my business. That's a great thing. We all want to not only survive, we want to thrive, we want to flourish, we want to grow. Noticing what's helping us. If we're drowning in a flood, that's not going to be helping us. We can't all survive, much less thrive, if we're drowning in a flood. Allowing ourselves to say, okay, this might not be as helpful as it once was. That's okay. How can we move forward? How can we ensure not only survival, but also that we continue to thrive and grow?
That is amazing. That is amazing. I want to speak on that. And with that, this is an excellent segue to your speaking engagements and your TEDx. What do you speak about when you are your last TEDx experience? What did you speak on, or your topics?
My last TEDx, and I'm looking forward to whenever I do another one. They were absolutely extraordinary of an experience. And the title of my TEDx is How to Stop the Negative Voices in Your Head. And when it comes to the negative voices, this is something that I'm truly near and dear to my heart, because I battled them for so long, thinking I was helping myself. And what I noticed, so even going back to, if our mind's a garden, when it comes to our mind being a garden, noticing those negative thoughts, it's not that what I felt like I probably was doing, hindsight always being 2020, is going, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. No, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And there were a ton of weeds. How do you weed? How do you get where are the gardening tools? And it's really about millionaire mindset, is building that toolbox to take care of the garden of your mind, so that when those weeds come up, and it's not to say I'm never having a negative thought in my life. It's quite literally saying I may have negative thoughts and I know what to do about them. I know how to clear the ground. I know how to manipulate them. I know how to get rid of them. I know who I might need to call in. It might not be myself. I might need to call up my coach and say, hey, I'm having a really tough time with this weed right here. I need you to come in with a massive backhoe and help me get rid of this root system. And that's okay. Because what I do is I know that somewhere in my toolbox is something that can help me get rid of this. Whether it's the toolbox that you consider it a shed, or you consider it a toolbox by hand, whatever it is, there's tools that can help you. This podcast is a tool that helps people cultivate that thriving mindset, that millionaire mindset, that clear garden in their mind. It's exactly what we're doing. We're building and creating these tools to clear out what we no longer need. So when it comes to stopping those negative voices, again, negative voices or weeds in the garden, whatever you want to call them, they're there. How do we manage it? Then how do we cultivate this beautiful ground so that flowers bloom, and not just flowers, trees, strong root systems? How do we put up boundaries? Because every beautiful garden needs a gate. We don't want just anybody traipsing through the garden. And boundaries are a good thing. We're often taught, oh, well, we're family. It's unconditional love. And boy, oh boy, sometimes unconditional love can be pretty hurtful. And we're mislabeling it, saying, hey, you know what? There needs to be a boundary. I need to make sure that I can take care of myself. And if that means putting up a wall and saying, you can't treat me like this, you can't talk to me like this, this is not something I'm going to tolerate, that's a good thing. We want to build that resiliency. We want people to have strong hearts that say, I know I'm worth it. I know I'm worth being talked to and cared for with respect and with love. And if you can't do that, that's okay. But I'm not going to just let you traipse through my garden. That's really important.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I would really like to hear that talk. Is that talk on your YouTube?
That talk is on YouTube, and I actually talk about holographic memory resolution very specifically in my TEDx.
Awesome. I want to check that out. So you have the TED Talk. So do you marry those teachings with your workshops?
Very much so. Very, very much so. And I do lots of different workshops. My favorite is what I've niched down to, which is emotional eating and eating disorders and disordered eating, whatever label you like to call it. I work with clients as young as 10 years old, and I work with clients all the way up to 70-something years old. And along the way, I also do work with people who tell me, the voices in their head are really causing them some difficulties. And I get it. It's not, I've never had another negative thought. I don't know what you're talking about. No, no, I'm very real. I've had plenty of negative thoughts, and I know how to really help people in spotting them and hearing them and helping them investigate them, helping them frame them and trade them in for things that are helping them. It really is all about you as in you, the listener. We want you to have the most spectacular, wonderful, millionaire-filled life. However we can help you get there, that is the goal.
That is the goal. That is the goal. I want people to realize, and you may see, I have a book coming out. I'm revising, Becoming a Millionaire.
Oh my God.
It's not as hard as you think. I talk about it. My whole purpose, I think, is I'm trying to use the word so much throughout my marketing and my branding that people are like, the generation that I come from, Generation X, $100,000 was supposed to be the ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm.
That was good money back then.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
But not anymore. If you really want to, like you say, thrive, if you want your family to have vacations, just have a fun-filled, healthy life.
Yeah.
You got to start thinking a little bit more. You're going to have to bring some more in. That's just, that's just what it is. So I kind of try to put the word out there just to make it normal. Just don't even think how you used to think. Like you said, you have to, that's no longer serves. $100,000 no longer serves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's part of my branding. But it starts with the mind. It starts in the mind. And then once you're unstuck, you can continue to move.
I think one thing that was really helpful, and I have a feeling you'll agree with this, allowing yourself permission to start looking at certain aspects, to really allow yourself permission to say, I'm going to say the word millionaire and I'm going to be okay. And it's not going to feel selfish, or it might feel selfish at first, and I'm still going to be okay. Because there's such a discrepancy when, I didn't really grow up talking a lot about money. It wasn't a thing that we talked about in school. It wasn't a thing that we talked about in the neighborhoods that I grew up in. And allowing yourself to get in those conversations and giving yourself permission that says, yes, I want to experience a millionaire lifestyle. I want to experience this growth mindset. I want to experience this movement and flourishment forward. I allow myself permission to start looking at that and to explore it, and to also allow myself to recognize it does not make me love where I came from any less. And that was really, really powerful once I started to understand that, because it can feel very prideful at first. Like, who do I think I am? And allowing yourself to say, you know what? I love me and I love them. And I'm still going to allow myself permission to explore, to be curious, to be playful, and to look and lean into this and see what else is there.
That's right. That's right. It's and I'll add to that. My personal experience. It's a bit scary because it's not only does it seem prideful, but you're almost like, well, who am I going to talk to now? Like my friends, they don't think this way. They don't think. I'm gonna have to find a whole nother set of another tribe. I have to find a whole different tribe because now I have to remove myself. And in between that time, I don't know if you've experienced this, but like going to networking meetings alone.
Oh yeah.
It really takes a special person to walk in a building alone. They have the people that are just naturally can walk up to people. But if you're an introvert or, you're someone, it takes a special person to just say, hey, man, I deserve this.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk in here. I'm going to meet some people, and get my business going. Yes,
absolutely. And it can, especially when you start networking. So I don't know, have you ever been to a BNI meeting?
Yes.
Okay. So when I first went to a BNI meeting, and I was not always a speaker, I was not always somebody, I was always chatty, but chatty is different than speaking. So, when I was in graduate school for speech pathology, I had two girlfriends sitting in the back of the classroom, and I hated talking so much in front of people, Rashad, that I would be up there and I'd be like I would go a mile a minute. And my two girlfriends in the back of the room would hold up signs. One said slow, the other one said down, because I could not get away from them fast enough. I just did not want to be up there. When you go to these business network meetings and you're going to these BNI meetings, the great thing is that as you go in, what nobody tells you is a majority of those people are also nervous and are also a little introverted and not necessarily outgoing. But the nice thing is that you start to get comfortable and you start to allow yourself, let me start to talk to this one. Hey, how are you? What's your business? Are you from around here? Do you have a favorite movie? Go in with about 5 questions, just being curious to know about them. And take the standard of, I'm going to meet this one person and it's going to be so da 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 da. Just go in and just be curious and open and say, how did you do this? How did you make your millions? How did you make money? How does your business going? When you can do that, when you go into these meetings, it will go so much better for you, because I remember being absolutely terrified going into these meetings because I didn't know anybody. Nobody knew me. And now we're all staring at each other. Go in with a smile. Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. I'm so-and-so. What do you do for fun? When we have something to go to, when we have those questions, it makes going into those meetings a bit more comfortable. And when you get comfortable, as in literally, I can breathe, the meeting's going to go so much better for you.
You're right. You are right. That you just dropped the jewel, because man, when you first get started out, going to those meetings can be a little terrifying. But then that's the thing about it is, when your business grows, so does your self-confidence.
Yeah.
So you get the first client, second, third client, you don't mind speaking to someone because you know you can help them. You know that you have something. Yeah, that you can fill each other cups, like you said.
Totally. I love that you pointed that out about going into meetings. You're completely right.
Yeah, it's something. But it's something that we have to do. And it's a rut. I'll call it a rut for now, for lack of better words. It's a rut that we have to get out of, that we kind of, but it's a small ditch.
Yeah.
Like you say, you don't need a backhoe to dig out of it. It's just a little small ditch you get out of and can thrive. So yeah.
One thing I often think is, especially when I go into certain events, I can sometimes make them so much bigger. Or at least at one point I was. And now this is something that helps me. My birthday is still going to come. As in, this is not going to be the end of the world. I might be a bit nervous. Don't worry. Tomorrow is going to come. My birthday is still going to come around. And this will then be a long distance memory. So when you can notice, okay, I'm really nervous. I don't want to go do this. Recognize the thoughts that are coming up. Allow yourself to shift through them. And also, your birthday's still going to come. It's still going to be another day. You're going to be fine.
That's right.
I promise.
I like how you look at that. I like how anyone out there, just look at it that way. This is awesome. I'd like to know, what are your next steps? What's up? What's next for Lenora?
Oh, I love that. I just got back recently from speaking at a conference in Las Vegas. So my next conference is in Chicago, again, teaching all about things related to mindset and emotional eating and eating disorders, and being able to really share with people and help people understand that they don't have to stay stuck. And even though you might be stuck and it feels infinite and eternal, I promise you, there are people that are happy to help you and are happy to say, I can help you with that. By all means, just send an email or pick up the phone, whatever you want to do. If you can be willing to say to yourself, just let me take this one step. Let me make this one call, this one email. Allow yourself to take then just one more after that. Just keep doing one step. It doesn't have to be the mountain. Just keep doing one more step. Just one step. And before you know it, you will absolutely get to where you're going. So for me, just really helping people and wanting them to feel better. So how about you? What's your next? Next on you.
My next thing is I want to help people to get on stage.
Ooh,
Most of my I want to build a platform. I'm building a platform.
You are building a platform.
Yes. So it's for people, because a lot of people I talk to, they think big giant conferences. But no, it's not always that. Sometimes it's helping your tribe. It could be a small amount of people, but they don't know how to. I'm very well versed in like doing events and things of that nature. So I just want to build this platform. I know that your expertise is what can sell. And once I build this platform, I'll show you how to get some money from it. And,
that is awesome.
Yeah. So
I am very excited for you. And your revised book is coming out.
Yes. So that's where it's all starting. That is where it is
super cool.
beginning. So hopefully I'll get more speaking engagements other than the ones I'm trying to do for other people.
I have no doubt that you will.
Lenora, this has been fun. I did want to commend you. Just because marketing is like my day job, your media kit is awesome.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you like it.
I've ran through a lot of them, and yours is one of the top-notch ones. It makes the interviewer's job just so much easier.
I'm thrilled to hear that. Thank you so much.
And for anyone that's out there, this is kind of funny because she has a list of questions that I could have answered, but this conversation was going so well, I didn't answer any of them.
Woo, we love that.
Yeah. So that's what you call just a natural, chemistry.
Yeah, very much so. Very, very much so. I'm so happy. Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely spending time with you and your listeners.
You are welcome. And I'm pretty sure anyone that's listening, anyone that will be reading the transcript, will definitely get some actionable steps. And we'll be able to look you up. And she also going to provide a free downloadable link that you'll be able to work with, the SHIFT protocol. So Lenora, I want to thank you for coming on. I know my guests appreciate you. I want to wish you success at everything that you do from here on out.
Right back at you, Rashad. Absolutely. Till we talk again. It was lovely. Thank you.
All right. You have a great one.
You too. Stay well.
Bye now.